came to Long Beach from MacArthur in Lakewood and served about 4 years before I went on to be president.
I started out at Monroe Elementary as a room mother. You know how they pull you in? Boy, they got me hook, line, and sinker. I loved it. I loved elementary school. The others are lovely, but elementary school was fabulous. It was just so much fun.
I first got involved in PTA in 1997 when our daughter was in kindergarten at Lowell Elementary School, which is also where I attended elementary school. The PTA president at that time asked me to chair the cookie dough fundraiser. I was a little nervous, being just a kindergarten parent, but she said jump right in, and I did, and I got hooked.
Started my PTA career at Longfellow Elementary as auditor. That's the best first position you can ever have. Believe me. Anyways, and it started from there. Went to Hughes and went to Poly. I think it was in the middle of Poly. I got roped in by my good friend Elena Rink, who's not here.
I began my PTA volunteering career at Mark Twain Elementary School as the popsicle mom. It's the best job ever. My first elected position was historian there, and I just continued to serve on and on. I ended up as president at Twain as well as at Marshall Academy of the Arts PTA. I've been serving for quite a while, and it's so much fun.
Reflections is my favorite program. It was new when I was council president. One day the artwork was displayed by grade level in my living room, and an art teacher selected the winners. An English teacher took writing folders home to read and judge. I delivered the music entries to a music teacher at Long Beach City College. I believe he did the judging for several years after that.
We brought back the honor unit. And at the time, we didn't have the Red Book. We didn't have even a piece of paper that told you what you had to do all year long. So by bringing back the honor unit and all the list of times and the dates they all had to be in, it gave all of our presidents at least this little outline of what they should be doing.
We have all these papers to turn in. We have all these things we have to do. We have to meet here and there, and I thought there has to be an easier way. And that's where the Red Book came from. The very first Red Book, I did it in my living room with my little 3-hole punch, and nothing matched. You know how you did that. It was funny. They laughed. I'm proud of that. I'm proud that we were able to do that, and to the point that 33rd District copied us.
Also during this term, we created the Green Book, a takeoff on Leslie Darling's Red Book, specifically for unit financial teams. I do believe this has proved to be a helpful additional tool to units as they navigate through each school year. I am also very proud of this effort.
I started the Presidents and Principals event, and before my tenure as president, I was noticing that there were sometimes conflicts or relationship issues with presidents and their principals. I thought, what can I do to kind of facilitate a better relationship so these PTA presidents can get off on the right foot with principals, and that principals can understand our PTA process, may come as a surprise to a lot of people. We have a lot of rules. So I thought if we could get everybody together and everybody hears the same message at the same time, maybe we'll be able to help facilitate some more positive relationships. I went to our superintendent, who was Chris Steinhauser, ran the idea past him, and he said, yes, that's great. So my first reaction was, wow, that's great, we're gonna do this. And my second reaction was, oh no, I have to do this. I have to get in front of all these people, principals, and all the presidents, and tell them how they're supposed to be doing things.
I know that Totem started during my year. I'm not going to say that I'm proud of that because it had nothing to do with that. But it did start my year, and now it's going really well.
The other thing we did during my term is that we did the first Teacher of the Year. If my memory serves me correctly, our very first was Erin Gruel, who was the Freedom Rider. That was so exciting. I happened to run into her, and she said that PTA was the first to recognize what had been going on in that school. So that was a nice little pat on the back.
Founders Day was held in the basement of the Methodist Church. All the PTA winning entries of the Reflections categories were displayed on tables in church pews. Nearly all of the school principals attended as guests of their PTAs. Imagine our surprise when flying termites joined us.
I was president during our 100-year celebration, so Long Beach Council PTA started in 1909. I was president in 2009. That Founders Day, we arranged a huge event, and it was in the evening. We usually do Founders Day during the day, and in person, but that year we did an evening event. We had all kinds of VIP guests and dignitaries, and I think our national PTA president at the time, Jan Domini, was there. It was just wonderful.
There's a couple of things I'm really proud of during our term, though. One was we took membership that was usually averaging about 12 to 13,000 a year and got it all the way up to 20,000 members, so that was pretty impressive.
The Milk Bowl, a PTA fundraiser for many years, was discontinued after 1989. The funds were used to benefit the dental clinic for needy students. All the high school football teams played a quarter, and their marching bands all participated.
While I was president of Long Beach Council PTA, a memorable moment was having to give a speech at a rally in the packed Wilson High School auditorium after a well-known rock metal musician. It was a very charged performance, and my remarks were not so much, but it worked out just fine having all of my colleagues there with me.
California State PTA used to have spotlight awards where units showed off really great things that they did, and for us it wasn't really about winning, it was just making our units go back and look at some of the programs they provided for their schools and have something they felt proud enough about to just write a couple of sentences. A lot of our units participated, and we actually ended up winning 3 of the 6 spotlight awards for our council, so that was pretty impressive.
State convention was in San Francisco. Even my 30-cup coffee maker flew with us to Oakland. Times and flying rules have certainly changed.
In 2008, I was invited to accompany the district to New York because we were a finalist for the Broad Prize. And I traveled to New York with a group from Long Beach Unified School District, and that was so exciting. And kind of a funny part about that was my vice president at the time was Laura Costley. And this is making me very happy just to talk about Laura, but because she's no longer with us. So she dared me to get a picture with Tom Brokaw. His handlers were trying their hardest to prevent me from getting close. I kind of had to ambush, it wasn't even a selfie situation because at the time I didn't have a cell phone that had a camera. Anyhow, that's another story. But I had to have somebody else use a camera, not connected to a phone, to take a picture. So I did end up with a picture, but the look on his face was very telling. You could tell he really didn't want his picture taken at that time, but I was all smiles. Unfortunately, we didn't win that year, but it was fun just to experience everything.
We were very proud during my presidency to be honored by the Education Foundation. I don't even remember what they honored us for, but I know they honored us, and they invited 2 of us to come to their big dinner that they had. Well, I couldn't go without everybody, so instead of just 2 of us going, the whole board went and accepted our award all as one big group because it really was all of us.
My husband reminded me that at the invitation of Superintendent Tom Juni, I attended a school board conference with him and board member Jenny Oropeza in North Carolina. One idea presented was a conflict resolution program for elementary students. It was then implemented in the Long Beach Unified School District. I think my husband remembered my trip because he was home alone with our 3 teenagers.
One of the best memories, I think, was when California State PTA President Diana McDonald visited us. I was quite nervous, as I am now. Yes, it was really nice. She came to visit Long Beach Council, spent the day. That was very memorable.
One thing that's crazy that I get to top all of these folks off with is we get to Zoom everything. We have a pandemic during my term, which has just been very challenging, very growth promoting. I've been impressed with how everyone was able to pivot and be able to switch everything to online, and I know the hard work you all are doing behind the scenes, because it takes a lot to get this taken care of. So I'm really going to be happy in 5 months when my term is over and I don't have to do the Zoom and be in charge of that anymore.
As I look back on my term as council president, two inspirations come to mind that I kept in the back of my book. One is by Vince Lombardi, saying an individual commitment to a group effort, that is what makes a team work. A company work, a society work, a civilization work. The other is by Howard Schultz. He says, when you're surrounded by people who share a passionate commitment around a common purpose, anything is possible. And I think that's what the team during those 2 years really strove to live by as they worked with the units in our council, trying to help them through their everyday trials and tribulations of being on the ground.
Unlike Linda Haynes, I did not have to walk 6 miles through the snow to get to a PTA meeting with just a pencil to do everything else. Unlike Leslie Darling, I did not create the Red Book during my term. And unlike Diana Craighead, we did not turn 100 during my term or start the Presidents and Principal Conference. We did have a great time, like most of those presidents before me, and they'll say they had the best boards and the most fun. Nobody had more fun as a PTA president than I did. It was a wonderful 3 years. Yes, I actually got to have this job for 3 years. Long story, and longer than this Founders Day event will allow to tell.
My presidency was the greatest presidency I ever could have asked for. Not because of what led into it, but we had the best bunch of ladies who worked their butts off. Each one of them took on more than one job because we didn't have enough people who signed up who would be anything. So like Leslie, the vice president, she also was an area advisor for all the middle schools. I, as president, was also the area advisor for the high schools. And like I say, I think we had one woman who did all the financial, no extra people. They worked hard and they were always wonderful about it. That's my biggest joy from my PTA years, is how hard and how wonderful the people are I've worked with.
When asked about the first thing that comes to mind when I think of serving as council president, it's most definitely relationships. I had the opportunity to meet, work with, and really get to know some great people. One of those greats is Linda Haynes, whom I had met many years before as a unit president. I had worked with her for several years on the board at council, but then as council president, I really got to work with her and get to know her as the wonderful person that she is. I was president of council during the 2013 to 15 term, but Linda, our director of leadership, is the one that really ran our show and kept us all motivated and working as well together as we did.
My council experience, I had been on council for a long time since I was president for different units. Where Linda was saying how much fun we have is that you got to know so many people. The best friends of my life to this day are those I met in PTA. And that's something I hold really dear to my heart. So we always had a lot of fun.
I've always said that as a president, there are certain players that you need to communicate with regularly and keep as close to you as possible. At the unit level, for me, those players were our treasurer, principal, school secretary, and the custodians. Keep them close and happy and everything will run smoothly. At the council level, in my opinion, it's most definitely the director of leadership. Linda, you were wonderful during those years for me.
Everyone says PTA is where you'll have a chance to meet some really great people and friends. And when I got started, it's like, I have more than enough friends. I don't have time for the ones I have. And sure enough, I find out years and years later, much like Leslie said, some of my best friends all came from PTA. Whenever I had something happen in my family, usually the first people I contacted were my PTA friends and family. These people will grow on you even if you don't want them to, or you're very, very reluctant to get involved. You just kind of get hooked, and then you're around for a few years until you decide it's time to go away.
Another person I'm so thankful for is Linda Simpkins. I called her my Yes board member. Whenever I needed someone to say yes, she did. She spearheaded our representation with the Human Trafficking Task Force, one thing I'm so proud of during the term I served as president. Linda Simpkins and Linda Haynes, I once again would like to publicly thank you for all you both did during our 2013 to 15 term.
I was going to say the best part of being on this team is, like Michael said, the people. You do make really great friends, lasting friends.
During my term, I met many wonderful people, district administrators, community leaders, teachers, and parents, and I made many lasting friendships.
I went on to stay in PTA forever, as some of you may remember, and loved every second of it. Anyway, I hope all of you out there love your PTA and just keep on working.
What I would tell future board members is that look at your board and look at everybody at your board, because that quiet one, maybe who doesn't speak up very often, probably has some fantastic ideas for you. Look for those people and put them in places where they can grow, and you will have a really successful board. But I wish you all good luck and happy Founders Day. There's been a lot of Founders Days we've been to.
If you are hearing this, you're volunteering or you're helping out. You're a principal or some other staff member who cares about PTA and you're here. So thank you for doing that, and thank you for stepping up, all those who are volunteering. You're doing a great service, not just to your own kids, but to the kids of the district, and it's very much appreciated and very much needed.
I think so highly of all of our PTA volunteers, and it's been an incredible gift to have gotten to know people that have been so dedicated and devoted to the cause of PTA and our children, and will continue to do so. Thanks, and happy birthday, PTA.
This year's PTA board, there's some great people, and every time I get to go to a Long Beach Council PTA meeting, I feel just energized and charged. So I want to thank all of you for everything you're doing at your schools, and those of you on the council, everything you're doing, because seeing a board that stays together even during these crazy times and still is trying hard to serve our children and families is really, really just motivating. So thank you for everything you're doing and everything you'll keep doing.
I hope you all enjoy the rest of this virtual Founders Day event, and I really cannot wait until we can meet again in person.
Another piece I'd like to share with you came from my installation as council president, and this was done by a unit president that I was very excited to have served under, and she stayed involved with PTA for a long time, and so I was very grateful to her when she put together my installation based on the words from Dr. Seuss and the book, Oh, the Places You'll Go. You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own now, and you know what you know, and you are the one who decide where to go. And to the entire board, just a few more pearls of wisdom. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with great care and great tact. And remember that life's a great balancing act. And never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your left foot from your right. And will you succeed? Yes, you will. 98.75% guaranteed.
Just remember why you PTA. It's for the kids. It's not for any position, really. It's for the kids, and I want you all to really remember that. So, thank you.
So thank you so much for doing everything that you do. And I don't like being on video, so I'm just going to say with that. And thank you all, and we'll see you soon. And